Hey, I'm Mike Twombley, health coach and six-pillar practitioner, here with Dr. Aajay, Shah and Six-Pillar Living, here helping you work on the 6 pillars and finding balance within. We're working on the nutrition pillar this week, and we've covered quality, quantity, content, frequency, and timing. Today we're talking about the 6 pillars and how they affect one another, nutrition being and having effects on the other 5. Now this is very important in terms of choosing the types of foods that you're going to have, the quality of foods, the quantity of foods, everything we've talked about previous in the week, and how it actually impacts the other pillars positively and negatively, and how this actually reinforces one and the other. Now, if we don't get one of the pillars right, it doesn't necessarily knock all of the other pillars down at once. However, each of the pillars does affect the others inversely and does work as a support to each of the others. So it is very, very important that we fully explore each of the pillars and find the very best balance between each pillar among them. So that's why we've had the 6th branch added on to the 5 that are very, very important in terms of the actual quality, content, timing, and frequency. Having the balance between the pillars is key. So with that being said, we're going to move forward and see how nutrition actually does impact the rest of the 6 pillars. Now, we have nutrition already in place, so we're kind of going in a forward movement toward exercise, which is pillar number 2. Now, obviously, exercise is going to be affected by, but you may not think of this the same way after we have this small discussion. Now, remember, exercise and nutrition go together because exercise requires energy, and nutrition is essentially us bringing in energy from the outside. However, what we've talked about throughout the week is increasing the quality and decreasing the quantity. Being able to look at the content and choose the proper foods that are going to be best for your health, your goals of weight loss or weight gain, or muscle gain specifically, but weight gain in the form of a healthy weight gain. And then looking at the frequency, the number of times we eat, and the timing, how much time we spend between each. Increasing the amount of time between feedings and allowing for our gut to empty and be empty, allowing our body to reach for body fat for energy rather than to the gut and for exterior energy sources. Now that's a little bit different of a paradigm shift for most people in that they think I have to eat food so that I can exercise. It actually works quite the opposite, and science has shown us. And over the past 10 years, we've had even more ability, scientifically speaking, to be able to see what occurs inside the body as we're working out with body fat energy rather than something like a Gatorade, who is just this burst of sugar that comes into the system, fills up the muscle cells, and then turns everything into body fat, but leaves us with this groggy feeling and a lack of energy, a lack of strength, and a lack of ability to perform. So the only way that you can maintain a sugar rush that is going to help you with your exercise is to continually have that sugar rush coming in. The inverse of that, the healthier way to exercise, is to gain the ability to be able to use body fat over time and utilize body fat more as your primary source and exterior sources as a way of replenishing those body fat stores, as well as giving you small amounts of energy, but nothing in excess of what you can use immediately. Now that is a very different paradigm shift, and what we're looking for is an empty gut when we go into exercise. So, managing your nutrition in such a way that you have a break between the time you've eaten and the time that you begin of hours, not just minutes, is a huge benefit to you to be able to exercise at your highest level of potential and have sustained energy across your exercise. Moving forward, we go into the pillar of sleep. Now we know that science tells us plenty of studies have been done and reinforced, study after study, that several hours after you eat, you're still unable to go into your deep sleep because you're still digesting some of the foods that you had. So it's very, very important that we time our food and have the quality of food throughout the day that allows us to go to sleep restfully and peacefully at night and as quickly as possible. So timing your last meal is very, very important for you to get the best possible sleep and rest throughout the day. One of the overlooked parts of the sleep pillar, and many people do not really look at, is what kind of restful state you are in for the 16 hours that you're awake. So the 8 hours you're sleeping will be impacted by what you eat as your very last meal and how closely that is to your bedtime. the other 16 hours while you're waking and eating of any kind, we have to be mindful of that being something that passes very quickly. And that's why we recommend you going with water-based foods that are going to pass your system as quickly as possible. Fruits, vegetables, these things are going to pass very quickly. Other things like grains and those can take an hour and a half to 2 hours. Meats can take 4 and 6 hours. These are things that are going to take a lot of time to digest, which means it's going to be interrupting your rest during the day as you're eating them. And if you do even eat them at night, it will carry over into your sleep then as well. So very important that nutrition does play a huge role on the pillar of sleep. Kind of piggybacking off of sleep there is that if you're not rested, if you're not in a restful state, many times anxiety is the byproduct. Stress is the byproduct. We all know when we've not slept well. We all know when we've had a long night. Dr. Shah knows when he's had a night of being on call and he's been called through the night and kept up all night, that it's much more difficult to manage anxiety and deal with the stress that would normally not affect us. It affects us more during those times when we are not well rested, when we are not able to find peace in the moment and not having the sleep of 8 hours that we need each night, and that being restful sleep, deep sleep, not just having our eyes closed. Moving on from stress, we move into substances. Substances are ones that are a part of our nutrition, in fact. That is something that can go from alcohol, which does have calories, to other things, such as sugar, which does, again, have calories, to drugs, even illegal type drugs, and then those that come into the pharmaceutical realm that are even medical grade drugs. Now, the need for these things many times sits on that there's a symptom that we are having come over our bodies and over our health that we're trying to fix. We are trying to help out with this medication or with this sugar. Remember, sugar and alcohol many times are used in a medicative way, even when the individual doesn't realize it themselves. So whether it be drugs, alcohol, sugar, in our sweets, and those types of foods, a lot of times we do these things as a part of a medicinal way to help with factors such as stress, anxiety, dealing with a lack of comfort or a lack of belongingness. All of these things many times are helped out by having some alcohol or having some sugar or some drugs in the short term. But ultimately, it causes failed health, it causes us to have problems, and with the pharmaceutical grade and the medical grade medications that we're given, those are only treating symptoms, not actually bringing us health. And so using your food as medicine is going to be key. So the nutrition pillar here, and the key is to ensure that we're eating the highest quality. We're bringing that quantity down as much as possible so that we're not needing food for our sustained energy, which again is going to affect our stress levels, and then allowing for the content, the foods we choose to be those that are going to pass quickly, bring the most quality nutrition into our health, and give us the best quality health as a result. And then the frequency and timing being such that they're not interrupting the other pillars that we've already discussed. Moving from there, we go into relationships, and many times the biggest thing that you'll hear is a couple that plays together, stays together, a couple that eats together, also stays together. Our nutrition is extremely mentally and emotionally critical to a relationship and its longevity. Studies have shown couples that sit down to dinner every night, share a meal, have conversation, and do have this experience on a nightly basis tend to stay together long term more than those that don't. So taking into consideration that in relationship, food is a big part of that. An actual time in which we come together in communion is a big part of that. And us having our nutrition pillar in place in such a way that we can support it with high levels of health and allowing this to be something that supports our health for longevity in terms of our body's ability to be able to maintain these relationships for a very long time, for decades to come, is what Dr. Shah and I look for you guys to have. So we're going to step out of nutrition this week. I really hope you've gained a lot out of this. Dr. Shah and I hope that you really have gained a secure, solid base on the nutrition pillar, and you're looking forward to next week coming forward in the exercise pillar, which we will be exploring in the same way, breaking down the 6 branches of pillar number 2 exercise. We look forward to serving you. We look forward to answering all of your questions and comments. So if you have any, go ahead and leave them below, and we look forward to taking care of you soon. We'll talk to you soon. You have a great day.